Here's how you know a relationship is a good relationship for you. It makes you feel better about yourself, not worse. It makes you feel more loved. So if you are not getting those things, it's a relationship you can't be in.
Here is today's case.
She's very selfish. She's a liar. She stole from my father and from me.
How do I steal from my own bank account?
You went into the account and you took the money.
Yeah.
And that's what you did.
My ex is controlling. I've gotten a random phone call first thing in the morning. She's had a complete attitude with me, swearing up and down that I knew exactly who was calling me.
When you're at your ex's house washing his clothes, cooking his food, and doing his laundry, but not doing it at your marital home, certain things do get questioned.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, as you know, for the first time on Divorce Court, we have a virtual audience and it's filled with your superfans. Today's superfan of the day is Sophia from Nashville, Tennessee.
Sophia, welcome to Divorce Court. We're so happy to have you with us today.
Your Honor, this is the case of Martin versus Rush.
Thank you, Juan. Miss Sheronda Martin?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have brought Miss Erica Rush
Yes, Your Honor.
to divorce court today. You are suing for $400 that you say she stole from your bank accounts.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I understand you also have a witness with you today, Miss Gaynell Robinson.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you for being here, Miss Robinson. I'll hear from you shortly. I'd like to hear from you, Miss Martin, first. I understand the two of you have actually been married for 4 years, and not only are you suing for money, but also to dissolve the marriage and the relationship.
Yes.
What happened? Give me some background, ma'am.
So my ex is controlling. She's very selfish. She's a liar. She stole from my father and from me. And she wants a divorce, but is still texting me, asking me to come back home. So I am ready to let her be free. That's why we're here.
Okay. Miss Rush, what do you have to say about that, ma'am?
Well, as much as I do love my wife and wish she would come home, she's an inconsiderate, disrespectful individual where it's either her way or the highway. So yes, please help her find the exit.
So you wish she would come home?
I mean, I've been trying for 2 months to get her to come home since she's been gone.
Why?
Because I have a wife and I want to abide by my vows and try to make something work.
And I only asked why because of all the things you said
Yeah.
about why the relationship isn't working out. But you said you still
And
want
a
her to
hypocrite.
come back.
Let me not forget that. She's a hypocrite.
So you just wanted to add one more
Yeah,
to the
just
reasons
one more.
why you want her to come home?
I mean, I want her to come home because she's
Right.
my wife and I do love her. And if we go through some type of mediation, it could possibly work, but she's not willing to do that.
What has happened, because the two of you have known each other for 9 years, so it's been a long time.
Yes.
Give me some background. What happened?
We met 9 years ago. We were in South Carolina. We moved from there to Ohio because my father became ill. So we stayed with my sister for a period of time to get up on our feet, to take care of my father, to help set things, in order as he was passing on. So in the process of, him going through the change of life, some family members mentioned that his money was missing out of his account. So when the money came up missing out of the account, a family member questioned me, and my ex was in the car with us at the time, and my ex decided to say that I didn't know anything about this situation at the time, that it was something that she did on her own, and that the money was gone.
Okay, so let me just understand this. You moved back to the same town where your father was living,
Yes.
and there was an account opened up in his name?
Yes, hers and his.
When you say her, you mean her?
Yes.
Miss Rush's name?
Yes.
She was put on the account with your dad?
Yes.
Why?
They had the same bank.
Okay.
So the family member that worked it out had them open the account together.
What happened after your dad passed away? There was a discovery made about his account?
Yes, so right when there was getting ready to be the funeral, there was the conversation that my family came to me and said, Sherry, what's going on? I heard that you emptied out your father's bank accounts. And I said, no, I had nothing to do with that. And because of my ex doing that, we were about...
How do you know she did?
She said it with my family member in the car.
So you went to her and said, do you know anything about this because your name is on the account?
No, my family member had us sitting in the car together, questioned me about it.
And she spoke up?
And she spoke up. At that time, she spoke up and
she took the money?
She took the money.
And that caused a huge issue with your family?
Yes, to the point where I wasn't allowed to go to my father's funeral. And the only reason that I ended up being able to be there was because the person who didn't want me there was late.
How much money
the police
was it?
didn't know how to escort me out. It was the first and only Social Security check, so it might have been $500 to $700.
Why did you take the money, Ms. Rush?
I didn't take the money, first of all.
So, but did you say you did in the car,
No,
in the
I
conversation?
didn't, actually.
You never said that?
I never said I took the money.
Okay.
Because I opened an account and added her father to my account so that he had somewhere to put his Social Security money.
Okay.
Okay.
They shared.
I sat down in her sister's living room, or actually the dining room, and we sat down and discussed. And Gaynell said, now you know Daddy will want us to have that money. They said, go ahead and take care of my sister. So the money that was spent on the sister and Gaynell's birthday party at the time.
Okay, so you did use that money,
Yeah.
but you say you did it with permission.
Correct.
And it was used
it's not like
for
I
a
just
birthday
took
party.
It to do what I wanted to do.
But you
with.
used it for a birthday party and some other things.
And to help with our living, yes.
Okay, ma'am, would you step up, please? You're a witness to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please step up. I'd like to hear from
Yes, please.
Erica took the money. She did whatever she did with the money
you. How do you know that?
because my sister told me once she had knowledge of it
Why were you being held responsible for that?
because they were living in my house.
At that time, you were told by Miss Martin that Miss Rush admitted to taking the money? Miss Robinson, how do you know Miss Martin and Miss Rush?
This is my sister and this is her wife.
Okay. You say you have information about what happened to the money in your dad's account?
This is new to me coming here, hearing that I had anything to do with Erica and the birthday party or any of that. I'm not a thief and I've never been a thief and I definitely wouldn't steal from my dying father for a birthday party. So I'm appalled and offended that she would even include me in this.
What do you say happened?
Erica took the money. She did whatever she did with the money
How do you know that?
because my sister told me once she had knowledge of it.
At that time?
Not at that time.
Once
I was
I
losing
was-
my father. I knew that I was not allowed at my funeral, my father's funeral, nor was my sister, and I had no understanding why we were being mistreated the way we were. I had no understanding. I didn't know nothing that Erica was doing. Her and my sister was over there taking care of my father. That's why she had access to his account because they were his caregivers.
At that time, you were told they didn't want you to come to the funeral because Miss Rush said that this money had been used
No,
for you
because
all?
the money was gone.
Because it was gone. Why were you being held responsible for that?
I have no idea because they were living in my house.
Okay.
So that's how I got grouped into
Okay.
it because she was staying with me.
At that time, you were told by Miss Martin that Miss Rush admitted to taking the money,
Yes.
and that was a conversation that you said happened in the car.
Yes, after
Okay.
my father passed away when a family member came up for the funeral.
Okay, and I just want to be clear, what did Miss Rush say to you in the car indicating that she had taken this money out of the account?
That she took the money because she was helping us live and that I didn't know anything about it until afterwards.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate your testimony. I wanted to get clarity on that because that became a big issue. And then there are a number of things that have happened since then. You said that the two of you just had a tumultuous relationship, that you had an issue with Miss Rush writing down all of the contacts in your phone.
We have cell phones. She has her own, I had my own. She would keep a lock code on hers or a security code on her cell phone. My cell phone, I didn't have a security code, I didn't have a lock code, I didn't care. You're my wife, you should be able to access my phone whenever you want to. So she would take complete advantage of that. So she went into my phone and she wrote down all my contacts lists. She took that sheet of paper and posted it up on our apartment door.
On the outside of the door?
On the inside of the door, just so she could have access to all of the numbers in my phone. I don't know.
Okay.
I've gotten a random phone call first thing in the morning, wrong caller. She's had a complete attitude with me, swearing up and down that I knew exactly who was calling me.
How is it a
even
wrong
though
number when they have
it
your
was
name?
the wrong number.
They said your name. It's a wrong number.
What was the point of you writing down all the contacts in the phone?
I didn't write down all the contacts.
Okay.
Because she has logic. If I'm not talking to her, then I'm talking to somebody else. And this was towards the end of the relationship where she wasn't talking to me. So I wanted to know who she was talking to since she wasn't talking to me.
Okay.
So I wrote down new contacts in her phone, not all contacts.
Okay.
I was curious.
Ask her who she was talking to on her phone, though, while she was getting calls at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, going to the bathroom and outside, answering her random phone calls, text messages, not telling me who she was talking to, where she was going when she'd be out until the son came home. All of those fun things, though, you know, she had to write down my contact
Well,
list.
you know, when you're at your ex's house washing his clothes, cooking his food, and doing his laundry, but not doing it at your marital home, I mean, you know, certain things do get questioned.
She went on my page and marked me as single. I deleted that post and then went up and made my own post.
Which is this: went to sleep married, woke up whole, single. Now, I have to say, I have a lot of 20-year-olds that come in this courtroom. This is some stuff that I expect them to do. If you'd like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Miss the show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms and follow us on social media for exclusive content. The two of you got evicted.
In Florida, yes.
In Florida. What happened? Because I understand that was recent history.
Yes.
So we stayed in Florida for 6 months. And in the 6 months that we stayed there, my wife worked 5 jobs. In those 6 months that we stayed there, my limited income is not enough to cover all expenses. So we ended up having to move.
What do you say was happening? Why were you changing jobs so often?
Well, because it was
happy.
either too far for her to travel, we had to worry about gas, but mind you, we were going to Florida so that I could spend time with my family. We could have stayed at my family's home rent-free, but her dog had to be a dog and be outside, so she chose to get a place that was $1,000 way out of our income.
$1,000 a month?
Correct. So I had to now work instead of spending time with my family like I was supposed to, like I did for her, instead of doing that. So, yeah.
So, 5 jobs in 6 months?
It wasn't 5 jobs.
It was 5 jobs.
I worked at the restaurant, I worked at the call center, and then I worked at the other restaurant before we left. 3 jobs is still more than I needed to have, but again, if my wife had my support or was supportive, that wouldn't have been an issue.
You're suing for $400.
Yes.
She said you stole this money from her and that you broke into her social media account as well and was posting things in her social media. What happened?
So she went into my phone while I was sleeping, went through the 3 different cards that I have, the 3 different accounts, and emptied them out to 0 status. Then I woke up the next morning to a social media post that I had not posted. Now, mind you, social media isn't supposed to be important, but she went on social media to mark me, instead of being married, to being single. So because I didn't...
On your page?
On my page, not her own page. She went on my page and marked me as single. She had conversations with my family, all of that, on this post as me. I deleted that post and then went up and made my own post.
Which is this.
Yes.
So went to sleep married, woke up whole, single. Wow, guess I'm set up for an interesting day.
Right.
Miss Rush.
Yes.
Did you log in to her social media and mark her as single?
I did.
Now, I have to say, I have a lot of 20-year-olds that come in this courtroom. This is some stuff that I expect them to do.
I wasn't in the right frame of mind at the time. Yeah, I did that.
Okay, and then you go on and you start acting like you're her and responding to people?
Actually, when I was responding to people, I didn't even realize that I was still on her phone. I thought I was on my phone at the time, because, yeah.
Well, you know her phone. You know the difference between
Actually,
phones.
no, not really.
Well, I think you do. And then you also went into her bank accounts?
Yeah, but I did pay that back. I took $150. 100 of that was going towards rent, which got paid. And
let me just back up for a second, because whether or not you paid it back,
okay,
you went into her bank accounts without her permission.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not
Just
yeah.
like she uses my bank card without my permission.
Ma'am. It's not yeah, and you shrug your shoulders. You can't do that. Not only is it wrong, it's also illegal.
Okay.
And it appears to be a bit of a pattern with you. You have a problem with other people's bank accounts.
No, the one with the father's is my bank account.
Ms. Rush, I'm gonna tell you something. I believe the conversation that she said she heard in the car. I believe it.
Okay.
And you know what, Ms. Rush? Further evidence of it, you have no problem going in people's bank accounts because you did it again.
Yep.
You have no right to do that.
How do I steal from my own bank account?
You just told me, we're not gonna go through this. You just told me you went into the account and you took the money.
Yeah.
And that's what you did.
Yeah.
So you owe her the $400.
That wasn't how much I took out of her
Well,
account.
you know what? It doesn't matter. You know why I'm not going to believe you? Because you stole the money. So you coming in court telling me today I paid it back, I don't need the thumbs up. I don't need the attitude from you, Ms. Rush.
That's fine.
I'm here to resolve a legal dispute, and this is what it is.
Okay.
You don't have the authority to go and take money out of people's bank accounts. The second time I've heard about it in this case. Both of you have been hurt by each other through the course of this relationship, so much so that you either spend your time lashing out at the other person or being on the defensive, waiting for what you think is going to be the next attack. And it's not healthy. Being in each other's presence in the midst of all of this anger and all of this resentment, you're just going to continue to lash out and hurt each other. There are certain things that you can't come back from. And you have to decide how you're going to move forward. Because what you can't do is try to stay in their relationship and punish each other. And that is exactly what's going to happen if she goes back into the household. You say on the one hand, she's a hypocrite, she's not trustworthy, she's all these things, but yes, I want her to come back into my house. That is the definition of dysfunction.
Oh, and she wants alimony too, Your Honor.
Well, that's not happening in this courtroom
on
today.
My fixed income, she wants alimony.
You want to talk about how you're supposed to take my last name after 6 months and 4 years later you're still a Martin?
You were
want to
supposed
talk about
to be
keeping your word?
Your wife.
You want to keep about that?
You were supposed to be honoring your marriage vows and doing what you were supposed to do too. It wasn't just me.
You bring me a Slim Jim from the store.
Oh, and I never did that.
And that's
and I didn't cook
Miss Martin
5 days a
and
week.
Miss Rush. Miss Martin and Miss Rush. See, there's the layers to this.
You have no
There's
idea.
layers. I mean, you just went back to 4 years ago. You two, you have to spend some time unpacking some things that have happened between the two of you in the last 4 years. Because you just went back to something that took place when the two of you first got married, and you're still angry about it 4 years later. And I'm gonna tell you something, the two of you individually, you should talk to someone. Because you're both angry and you're both hurting. What you don't wanna do is go forward and make other people pay for what you say are the mistakes and the hurtful things that happen between the two of you, because that's when the harm continues. The $400 you owe her, and you gotta stop going in people's bank accounts for money that does not belong to you. Good luck to all of you.
Good luck on that one.
Miss Rush, one more thing. I'm gonna say this, because this is civil court. The next time, you could be in criminal court. So I'm giving you a warning.
I love Judge Faith's ruling. I completely am in agreement with her right now. We both need to be separate. We do not need to ever get back together.
As far as that $400, I think it's a complete scam. That's what I get for being nice. Won't happen again. I want to try to work on my marriage because I was a firm believer in vows, but you can't beat a dead horse, and it's obviously just got flies all around it.
I definitely feel like I have closure now. I get the money back, that I don't have to deal with her anymore, that I don't have to talk to her anymore.